I remember when she made me drink a ton of water. I didn't know why until she took me into the bathroom and went on her knees and said, "Okay, Bubba, put it on me. Give me the golden shower." Like, what was this girl asking me to do? Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba, and welcome to another really embarrassing story. So today's story all takes place back in my high school years, and this was actually my grade 12 year. So my grade 12 year, I was actually graduating and getting out of high school. And honestly, I was really excited too, because I'm not gonna lie to you, school is probably the worst years of my life. Even though it may sound really entertaining throughout this channel of me telling all these insane stories, I won't lie, I never really enjoyed high school. Part of me wishes nowadays, since I'm older now, is that I wish I actually paid attention more in school and actually focus on an actual future and actually go to college. But I mean, thanks to you guys made my future more fun with doing these stories. But going on with this story, I remember one time in my grade 12 year, I remember I was just walking around the school, just hanging out with some of my friends, and out of nowhere, I ended up seeing a girl that not a lot of guys really talk to. I didn't know why until I looked over at one of my friends and asked him, "Yo, bro, I'm just curious. Why does no one talk to that girl? Like, for real, in the beginning of the school year, she was all popular. Now she's just like, what, weird? Oh, bro, you didn't hear? Apparently she's like into like some really weird stuff, bro. Trust me, you don't want to talk to her." Well, I mean, she's not ugly. How bad could it be? I remember my friends ended up shrugging their shoulders because they didn't know why this girl was known to be so weird. So what I decided to do is actually walk up to her. I remember I walked up to her straight up and I said, "Hey, like, how's it going? I'm Bubba." "Oh, hey, Bubba. Yeah, I know about you. Some of the girls talk about you in class." "Oh, what did they say? Hopefully good things." Well, I mean, other than, you being really good at Devil's Tango, they say some pretty weird stuff about you. Okay, well, that sucks. But other than that, I mean, like, you down to like maybe hang out? Actually, you know what? You might be the perfect guy the more I think about it. When she said this, I did not know what she was talking about, but she ended up giving me her phone and we ended up exchanging social medias. And while one thing led to another, I'm not gonna lie, I thought I was locked in. But right after this girl walks away, one of the guys that I used to play rugby with ended up walking up to me saying, "Yo, Bubba, what are you doing with that girl, bro?" I don't know, just, decided to talk to her. "Why? What's up?" "Bro, you do know that's like the weird girl, right? Like, she's major weird." "Yeah, no, I heard. I don't know why though. Do you know?" Well, no, I don't know, but like, all I'm saying is, bro, is like, it's your funeral." And he walked away. At this point, obviously something was really off with this girl. But me, you gotta understand, at this time in my life, I did a lot of the Devil's Tango. So I thought I was prepared for anything. My confidence boost was like to the max. So instantly right at that moment, I remember I ended up heading to my next class. And as I was in my next class, I remember I ended up getting a text message on my phone. It was from the girl that I just talked to, and she was like telling me about like, life and stuff and how she had a pretty hard childhood, and she started basically trauma dumping me. And girls do this a lot for some reason. They think like right away when they meet a new person in their life, they think trauma dumping is probably the smartest thing to do. When in reality, girls, if you're watching this, it's really a turn off. But obviously I was being nice about it and I was listening in on everything, and then one thing led to another. I remember she ended up saying, "Oh, so like after school, what do you want to do?" "Oh, I was thinking of maybe like, hanging out, just chilling." "Oh, okay, well, I was thinking we go back to my place." I mean, we can, but like, don't you like want to like hang out first?" "I mean, yeah, we can. I'm down." Now, the reason I didn't instantly decide to go to her place was because obviously I wanted to actually get to know this girl to make sure I wasn't going into some crazy stuff. Because even though I was super confident in myself, obviously I wanted to know why everyone thought she was so weird. So one thing led to another. I remember after school came around and me and her, we ended up meeting up in front of the school. We got in my car and I started driving to the mall. As I was driving to the mall though, I remember she started getting really touchy with me and started putting her hand on my thigh and stuff, and basically was signaling that she was really in the mood. I didn't know why, but obviously I was like, kind of just telling her to calm down and stuff, because I get it, I was attractive back in high school, but I don't think I was that attractive. But once we got to the mall, I remember me and her, we started walking around. I started basically telling her about myself this time, and well, I'm not gonna lie, we got along pretty well. We both realized that we both enjoyed doing the Devil's Tango. But other than that, we both enjoyed the same foods and stuff, and I remember as we were walking through the mall, out of nowhere, she ended up seeing this bubble tea place. Now, I like bubble tea. I think bubble tea is a really good drink, and I remember I ended up going up to the bubble tea place and ordering a drink. And she did the same thing as well, except the one thing that was really odd is that after when she got her drink into her hand, me and her started walking around, and I started to realize that this girl was not drinking her bubble tea. I looked at her and said, "Oh, are you like not thirsty? Do you not want it anymore?" "Oh, yeah, I'm actually not that thirsty. Here, you want to drink it?" Yeah, sure, I'll drink it." So I remember after I finished mine, I ended up drinking hers, but halfway through drinking hers, I remember I wasn't really feeling it anymore because I felt like I had too many bubbles, or bobas, I guess it's called. And basically I was planning on throwing it away. But as I was about to throw it away, she looks at me and says, "Bubba, are you seriously gonna waste that? There's no way. I mean, it's not that much left. Bubba, just drink it all. Come on, you're gonna need it for later." "I'm gonna need what? What are you talking about? At this point, she went silent and started giggling, but I did not know what she meant when she said that, and it started to make me worry. Was this the weird thing that everyone was talking about? Well, later on, you guys will figure out what it was, because I remember after we finished hanging out at the mall, me and her, we went back to the parking lot and got in my car. And when I got inside my car, I remember I was just basically planning on just driving her back to her place and dropping her off, but she had other plans in mind, because I remember she looked at me and said, oh, Bubba, I was just wondering, want to like actually head back to my place? Yeah, okay, sure. You know what? We'll go back to your place. And I remember we ended up driving back to her place. I parked the car, and I remember once I walked through her house doors, I instantly realized I had to go to the bathroom. So I look at her and say, oh, so I was just wondering, where's your bathroom? Oh, don't worry, you're not gonna need it right now. We can use it later. No, but I need to go to the bathroom now. Oh, Bubba, trust me, you're gonna need it for later. What do you mean I'm gonna need it for later? What are you asking me to do? Do a urine test? At this point, I didn't know what this girl was talking about, nor what she needed. And then one thing led to another. I remember I ended up going into her kitchen with her, and then she pulled out like 4 different water bottles, and I looked at her saying, oh, are you thirsty? Oh no, this is for you. Don't worry about it. And then she ended up taking me into her bedroom with the water bottles that she had in her hand, and one thing led to another. She put them all on the nightstand. At this point, I was questioning what was going on, but then right as I was questioning everything, she ended up hopping onto me and started making out with me on her bed. So at this point, I'm weirded out, but at the same time, I started making out with this girl, but I still had to go to the bathroom. So I remember I look at this girl once again, and I look at her in the eyes and said, yo, listen, I need to go to the bathroom. I'm gonna be for real with you here. Oh, okay, well, you know what? Here, follow me. At this moment, me and her, we ended up going to the bathroom. She showed me where it was, but right as I go in, she comes in right behind me. She comes in with me, and she looks at me and says, okay, I'm ready for this. She ended up going on her knees, and she took off everything, and she said, okay, Bubba, give it to me. And at that point, I'm like, what do you mean give it to you? At this point, she was basically asking me to urinate on her, or as people would say, do a golden shower. For some reason, this is actually a thing that people are into. It's really gross. In my opinion, don't do this, okay? It's disgusting. So I look at this girl, and I think she is crazy. I'm starting to think, whoa, okay, don't get me wrong, you're hot, but this is freaky. And at that moment, everything clicked, because I started to understand what everyone was talking about when they said this girl was a weirdo, bro. So that moment, I remember I was really weirded out, and I didn't pull out my eggplant, nothing. I just looked at her and said, okay, listen, there's a lot of things I would do with a woman during the devil's tango, but this is the one thing that I will not do, okay? Like, I am not crazy. She looks at me and gets up and says, wait, you think I'm crazy? Are you kidding me? Who do you think you are right now? Okay, like, I get it, you do a lot of the devil's tango, but you are just not him, okay? So you know what? Maybe you should just leave. Honestly, you know, that's probably not a bad idea. She ended up grabbing me by the wrist and actually taking me to her front door and actually basically kicked me out. And even though I was really hurt by it, I remember I got so upset to the point where I ended up going to her front lawn and actually urinated on her front lawn. If anything, I'd rather feed the grass than feed her. I don't know. Honestly, I don't want to say anymore because, well, I don't want this video to get demonetized, but one thing's for sure, that day I started to realize that there are definitely some weirdos out there. But if you guys wouldn't do it and do the same thing as me, then just fall for more embarrassing stories. Let's see how many of you guys are actually weirdos. Peace out, guys. Alright, so what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba, and welcome back to an insane story. So today's story takes place back when I was actually, funny enough, my grade 9 year. In grade 9, I'm not gonna lie to you, I did a lot of crazy things. But one thing I never expected to do was to do a girl in the bathroom stall. Or to be exact, on the toilet. The way this ended up happening was actually really weird, but I remember one time I was in school just hanging out doing my own thing, and there was a girl that I knew about in my class that I wasn't really a fan of. If you're wondering what class it was, I think it was language arts. But going on with the story, I remember basically during language arts, me and her, we would kind of sit beside each other but not talk at all. Me and her weren't interested in each other, and don't get me wrong, even though she had a nice pair of cherries, me and her, we just never spoke. But this is where the story gets actually pretty interesting. I remember one time she ended up looking at me saying, Bubba, I'm just curious, do you know this girl? And she showed me a photo of a girl that I actually did the devil's tango with back last year when I was in grade 8. Now, I remember I was embarrassed to say yes, so I ended up just saying, I mean, I'm friends with her and I know about her. And that's when she ended up looking at me with an eyebrow raised saying, I'm just curious, did you do the devil's tango with her? What? Why would you ask that? Is what I said afterwards. And then I remember she was explaining to me how basically she's friends with this girl and how she, you know, was told about how me and her did it and how we did it on a middle school roof. That is a story on the channel, by the way. If you do want to go out and watch it, go for it. But going on with the story, she was very interested in how I basically did the devil's tango. So I remember from there, I remember just looking at her saying, to be honest, I don't really want to talk about this just, you know, out loud. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird. And then that's when she said, oh, like, it's fine. Like, you know what? Like, here, add my Snapchat. And then from there, I ended up adding this girl's Snap. Now, once again, like in the beginning of the story, I said I wasn't interested in her, and I really wasn't. But I really wanted to see where this was gonna go. So I remember from there, basically, me and her, we were just snapping back and forth. I would snap her during the day, she snapped me at night, and all we talked about was basically the devil's tango. Now, let me say this. Having a conversation with a girl is not a hard thing to do, but having conversations with a girl about the devil's tango usually leads somewhere. And what does it usually lead to? Well, actually doing the devil's tango. But obviously with me and this girl, it didn't happen so quickly. I remember me and her, we were just talking on Snap, and we were basically talking about one topic that I never expected to talk about. And that was, what was the perfect size? Now guys, if you're watching this video, I want you quickly, just with your hands, make the right size, and girls, you do the same thing. Now, I'm telling you right now, the guys are obviously gonna show bigger than the girls, because I don't know why this girl told me, oh, to be honest, like, I'm more of like a 5-inch type of person. Wow, congratulations. Half of the population is 5 inches. Congrats. Sorry, that's a really weird fun fact to say, but as you know, actually, the most common eggplant size is 5 inches. Yeah. Kind of interesting. Going on with the story though, I remember we were talking about it, and to be honest, I didn't really want to talk about eggplants with her. So I decided to talk to her about the next best thing, and that was cherries. Now, cherries are amazing. I'm not joking. Comment down below what you guys prefer, cherries or peaches. But for me, I'm a cherry guy. And to be honest with you, if you guys like peaches, fun fact, you are a percentage of gay. Did you guys know that if you like peaches more than cherries, there's a chance that you might be gay? Now, you're probably looking at me saying, what in the world am I talking about? Dude, can you just talk about the story? No, actually, I'm going to tell you this fun fact. So did you know that in this world, any guy and girl can have a nice peach? Like, I'm not joking when I say this. Many, and I mean many people, can go to the gym, do 100 squats a day, and have the nicest peach ever. But as for cherries, only women have them. And on top of that, only a nice pair of cherries is very rare to find. So I'm just saying, for all those peach guys out there, you might want to reconsider saying the word cherries when a girl asks you what do you prefer. Because at the end of the day, have you seen those baseball players? Yeah, they have a nice peach. Anyways, going on with the story though, I remember I ended up telling her that fun fact, and she started laughing saying, well, I mean, my cherries are good too. Your cherries are nice, is what I said, with an eyebrow raise emoji. And this is where things get really, well, to the other side of things, if you know what I mean. I remember I ended up snapping her saying, well, like, I'm gonna be for real with you, I don't believe it, because it's hard finding a nice girl with nice cherries. And at that moment, she ended up sending me a photo of her cherries, and I'm not gonna lie, she had a nice rack. Like, no joke. So I remember from there, I got bricked up, and, you know, she ended up telling me to send her something. Obviously, I didn't. Guys on the internet, please don't send your photos anywhere. It's not a good idea. I'm just saying that for privacy reasons. YouTube, don't demonetize this video. And then I remember from there, we always had that devil's tango tension going on. The next day at school, I remember I sat down beside her, and I'm not gonna lie, it felt really weird sitting beside her, knowing exactly what was through that shirt. But at the same time, it kind of got me in the mood, and I remember me and her, we just kept looking back and forth at each other, because we both knew that, like, you know, we were attracted to each other and stuff, and it wasn't as awkward as before when, to be honest, me and her weren't attracted to each other, and we were just, you know, two people sitting beside each other. But it got to the point where I remember she looked at me and I looked at her, and it got to the point where, I'm not gonna lie, she snapped me saying, I'm wet right now. Now, when she texted me that on Snapchat, I didn't know what to say. In my mind, I was thinking that maybe I should just play it cool and, you know, just act like I don't need it. But at the same time, like I said in an older video, I'm a hypersexual. If I'm gonna do it, I gotta do the devil's tango. So I ended up messaging her on Snap saying, yo, okay, you know what we could do? We could go to the bathroom. The bathroom? Are you crazy? Like, there's no way we're going to the bathroom. No, trust me, we're going to the bathroom. I mean, which one? And then that's when we decided to go to a bathroom stall in the guys' change room. Yeah, I know, kind of insane, but I remember I ended up leaving, going to the guys' change room since PE was already in session. No one would be in the change room. And basically, this girl, she ended up following behind me 2 seconds later, going into the guys' change room. Now, obviously, we didn't want to do it straight up in the change room. So I remember me and her, we ended up going into a bathroom stall. And in the bathroom stall, there was obviously going to be a toilet. Since there was a toilet, I remember I ended up sitting down on the toilet, and this girl ended up sitting on me. And let's just say, yeah, we ended up doing the Devil's Tango. I remember as we were doing it, she ended up yelling my name like over and over again. Like, you know how awkward it is when a girl goes, Baba, Baba, Baba? Like, it's just really awkward. But I remember when that happened, I was just kind of just, you know, doing my thing. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even get to finish. She finished before me. I know. Crazy. But I won't lie to you guys, there was a reason for that. And the reason was that since I sat on the toilet with my pants off, my brain decided to tell my body that I have to go take a fat dump. So from there, I remember I was basically more in need of, you know, taking a dump than doing the Devil's Tango. So the whole time when this chick was riding me on a toilet seat, I was basically thinking about dropping a deuce. Yeah, really weird. But I remember that whole thing ended up getting really awkward. And to be honest, she ended up saying like, oh, like, do you not want to finish? And I told her I didn't want to. And to be honest, like, I was just not in the mood anymore. And me and her, we ended up going back to class, sitting down really awkwardly. And yeah, I mean, that's basically it. We didn't get caught, nothing. It was just another common day of me doing the Devil's Tango. But I mean, hey, there's a lot of those to tell on this channel. Okay, so I think some of us are not used to being in small spaces. Like, if you're able to be inside a coffin for 24 hours underground, comment down below, because I know Mr. Beast did it, but I'm telling you one thing, being trapped in a small space is super scary, especially when it's with your crush for 24 hours. And today's story is a lot of that. But before anything, make sure you guys do join the Kick streams down below. Seriously, I'm streaming on Kick now, and it's super fun and exciting to talk to you guys and tell more crazy stories just like this one. Other than that, let's get straight into this insane story. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba, and welcome back to another insane, awesome story. So this story takes place back when I was actually, funny enough, in grade 7. Yes, I was actually a young middle schooler. And if you guys don't know, I used to have a crush back in middle school that I basically fell in love with. Basically, I want to say back when I was in grade 7, or actually even in grade 6 as well, there was one girl in my class in my middle school that I basically fell in love with. She was a girl that I majorly just wanted to be with, and I felt like me and her would be the most insane couple ever. I think a lot of us have this feeling when we have a crush or someone that you imagine yourselves with them and thinking it's gonna be the best thing ever, and then it never ends up happening, so you sit in your room depressed playing Call of Duty. Well, that's basically what happened to me, but that's not the point. I remember basically what ended up happening was one time, me and my class, we had a field trip. Now, field trips are usually the good things in middle school or in any school, but I remember this field trip was literally a field trip to the park, and all we had to do was basically go out and stargaze at night. So yes, this field trip wasn't during school hours, which is kind of insane. But I remember basically we all would get like extra points into our report cards if we went. So I remember basically I ended up going up to my parents that day when we got announced for the field trip, and I told them, hey mom, can I please go to this field trip? Like, it's for extra grades and it's really cool. I remember my mom looked at it. She saw that we were basically going to be out super late from basically 9 p.m. to like almost 11:30 at night, which is almost close to midnight. And a grade 7 going out during midnight, maybe common nowadays, but I had strict parents, so they were no way okay with this. Anyways, I remember basically I kept begging my mom over and over, and as 2 days passed, I remember my mom finally signed the paper saying, fine, you can go. Because either I was going to be up playing video games or I go out and actually do homework, which, I mean, let's be real here, that's a deal breaker for any parent. Anyways, on the day of, I remember basically at school, we were all getting ready to prep our stuff and basically get ready to go and do this field trip later on during the school day. Because basically what we had to do is meet up at the school, pack up everything, and then go over there. I remember as I was packing up my things and getting ready for placing my stuff for the field trip, I remember I looked at my middle school crush and she was beautiful. No joke, I remember she looked at me with her big eyes that she had, and I remember she walked up to me and said, hey Bubba, like, are you excited for this field trip? Oh yeah, 100% is what I told her. And I remember she kept looking at me and basically like talking to me about stuff about stars and stuff, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I kind of ended up toning out her voice and just hearing the glowing sounds coming from around her and how beautiful she was. I know I sound like a simp during the story, but trust me, that was basically me back in middle school. Anyways, going on though, I remember as the school day was about to be over, I remember I was walking with my friend home, and I remember he was explaining to me how basically for some reason my middle school crush was maybe not gonna go to this field trip. I remember when he said, yeah, so like, I don't know, man, I don't think she's probably gonna go to this field trip. I looked over at him and said, wait, why wouldn't she go? She loves the stars. And then he ended up telling me, well, apparently she has like stomach aches or something. I don't know, like, did you not see how many times she has to go to the bathroom? To be honest, I didn't realize it during school day, and honestly, I felt bad and I kind of felt sad at the same time, because the whole reason I really wanted to go to this field trip is not really to actually look at the stars when there's one beautiful one right in front of me, aka my middle school crush at the time. But anyways, going on from there, I remember I went home and I was all bummed out basically, and then my mom, her being excited that I'm going out to do homework super late instead of playing video games, came downstairs to my room and said, okay, Bubba, you have like 20 minutes Alex, get ready. I'm gonna drive you back to the school. And I was like, okay. And I got all my stuff and I ended up going to school. When I went to school, it was super dark out. And honestly, one thing I realized is that school at nighttime is a lot more scarier than school at daytime. Because, well, I don't know, it just looks like a really freaky old mental asylum. But I remember as we all met up in front of the school, we went into our classrooms, we picked up everything we needed, and then we ended up going for the field trip. We went to the park and we started walking around, and right as you know it, out of nowhere, my middle school crush ends up running into the park, seeing all of us, and sits down the circle that we were sitting in. I remember I was super happy in seeing her, and I was like, basically, I was getting jitty. I'm not gonna lie. I was freaking out saying, oh my goodness, like, she's actually here, dude. As I'm like grabbing my friend's shoulder, telling him like she's here as if she's like the princess of the class. Well, in my mind she was, but going on. I remember basically we were going around placing telescopes down that we had in our classroom, and we were just looking at stars and writing down constellations and stuff. I don't know. I really don't care about the sky, to be honest, because, well, the only thing I would do nowadays is reach for the sky. But other than that, one thing I ended up realizing is that my middle school crush was really having bad stomach aches. And I know my friend mentioned this earlier as we were walking home together, but basically what I started realizing is that she really had to go to the bathroom a lot. Like, it got to the point where, like, she ended up going more than 4 times, and no one knows what was going on with her. So I remember it got to the point where I ended up walking up to her saying, yo, like, is everything good? Me thinking that I could be some sort of way of helping her with her stomach ache, as if I'm like Advil or something. But then she looks at me and says, oh, like, no, I'm okay. It's just my stomach's been hurting recently. I don't know why. And I felt bad, and I kind of just decided to stick with her and be helpful in a way with her homework while she just kept going to the bathroom. And then this is where things get super bad. I remember it was towards the end of the field trip, and it was like 11:30 at night. And basically, I remember I walked up to my crush and I told her, yo, like, here's your homework. I managed to finish it for you. Are you feeling okay? And right as she looks at me, she goes back straight to the bathroom. At that point, I remember I looked at my teacher. My teacher said to go follow her to make sure she's okay. And I ended up following her to the bathrooms, and I was outside the door while she ran inside and went straight to a toilet, I'm guessing. And me, as I'm sitting outside, I remember all I ended up hearing was, oh my, that hurts. Right at that moment, I'm like, yo, is she good in there? But no one else was around. So me being the dumb grade 7 kid I was, I decided to go inside the bathroom to go check on her. And right as I go inside, I remember I look around and I'm thinking, bro, what is going on? Because all I hear is her making the biggest dump I've ever heard of. Like, no joke, for a girl that I thought was a princess, dude, she definitely did not have a princess down there, bro. Like, it was gross, okay? I don't know how else to explain it, but it was gross. So I remember I ended up knocking on the stall saying, yo, is everything okay in there? And she, like, instantly, like, gets really mad and says, Bubba, what are you doing in here? It's the girls' bathroom. Yeah, but, like, I thought something was wrong. And right as I say that, that's when the thing that terrifies me the most ended up happening. The lights went out, and basically, for some reason, I heard a lock happen on the door. At that moment, I remember I ran towards the door, and I heard that no one was around, and basically, as I tried to open the door wouldn't open. No matter what, the door was not gonna open. And right at that moment, I go back to the stall, and I talk to my crush, and I say, yo, so, they just locked us in here? Okay, can you turn on the light, is what she says. As I look for a light switch, though, I couldn't find one, because you gotta remember, this is like a park bathroom, so, like, everything's, like, kind of, like, built in, I guess, in some way. I have no idea. But I remember I kept telling her to, like, calm down, don't worry, I'll figure things out, and I'm just looking around thinking what to do. As for my middle school crush, well, she was just making sure she got everything out of her system. So as she's just majorly farting, I'm just sitting in the bathroom in the dark trying to figure out what's going on. And as I'm looking around, like, kind of like putting my hands on the bathroom floor to see if there's any way I can maybe like turn on the light or figure out something that's around, kind of just know my surroundings, I ended up finding a lighter on the ground. I found the lighter, and I remember I flicked the lighter on, and there was a little bit of light. My crush noticed it, and she said, oh, like, what is that? And I said it was a lighter I found on the ground, and she's all like, wait, you have a lighter? Do you smoke, Bubba? No, is what I told her. And then afterwards, like, after like 10 seconds later, she ended up coming out of the bathroom with the little light we had. I ended up making sure she washed her hands and everything, and one thing led to another. She was sticking right beside me. Don't get me wrong, as much as I love candlelit dinners and having a romantic time, being in the bathroom with my crush was not romantic. I remember me and her, we ended up sitting in there, just sitting down, talking on the floor, and just waiting till someone was able to help us. But then I remember I looked at her and said, I wish there was some way to like actually like communicate to the outside. There's got to be something in here. And right as I say that, this girl decides to pull out her phone that she has. She had an iPhone 4, by the way, at the time. She pulls it out and says, oh, like, I should probably just call my mom. Are you joking? We've been sitting down here for half an hour, like, stuck in here, and you're literally now just calling your mom? You had a phone the entire time? time, I remember I was playing that through my head, but honestly, the only thing I said to her was, oh, that's a good idea. Because I didn't want to make fun of my middle school crush for being how slow she was, I guess, in some way. And then one thing led to another. She ended up calling her mom. Her mom got absolutely mad at the teachers for not realizing that we were stuck in the bathroom. One thing led to another. The teachers came, opened the doors. Parents were really mad. And my mom was really upset because it got to the point where it was almost like 1 in the morning. And being a young kid at 1 in the morning going outside, let's be real here, no one should be doing that.